LucasArts launched an MMO game called LEGO Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars Beta in January 2011 as a promotional tool for the upcoming game, LEGO Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars, which was of course based on the animated series Star Wars The Clone Wars. Players could explore several planets from the Star Wars universe alongside other players in a 2D space, with screens in the background and displaying screenshots and footage of the final game. On each planet, players could engage in various minigames, including a capture the flag style game where they could collect bricks to build a staircase towards a goal. Characters could be unlocked by completing tasks, using cheat codes, sharing the game on Facebook, and collecting studs. However, when Disney acquired LucasArts in 2013, they decided to shut down the studio, along with all the Star Wars games in development at the time, including LEGO Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars Beta. The game's website link now redirects to the Star Wars website page for the main game. Although the game's link can still be accessed via the Wayback Machine, captures from the time when the game was active only display a piece of promotional artwork, and those taken after the game's shutdown which request the discontinued Adobe Flash Player to be accessed. Despite the existence of numerous videos about the game, none of the game's assets have resurfaced since the shutdown. Ranger Rick is a well-known magazine focused on science and nature for children. It was created by the National Wildlife Federation and has been published since 1967. The magazine features a comic series with a mascot, a raccoon named Ranger Rick, who goes on adventures with his animal friends to explore the world and solve environmental problems. The National Wildlife Federation created a 2D animated TV commercial featuring the characters. However, the commercial is partially lost, as only the first and last parts are available on YouTube. The missing part involves Ranger Rick teaching an important message to the animals. The commercial was created around 1970 to 1972, as indicated by the logo on the cover of the magazine. This marked the first time Ranger Rick actually appeared in any animation and was given a voice. Unfortunately, the NWF has limited archives from the 1970s, and the details on the voice actors and producers are unknown. In March of 2021, the NWF was contacted on Twitter about the commercial, but they were unable to provide any more details. Later in June 2021, the current senior editor of the magazine, Hannah Shart, reached out to a former editor to ask about the commercial. While the former editor remembered the commercial, he did not recall any of the voice actors or producers. The footage on YouTube is now the only known surviving footage of the commercial. Johnny Test is an animated television show that follows the adventures of 11-year-old Johnny Test, who lives with his twin 13-year-old sisters Susan and Mary. The two sisters, who are scientists, conduct experiments on their brother, leading to many exciting and hilarious situations. In 2004, a pilot was produced for the show, which was aired a year before the full series was picked up by Kids WB. Little information is available about the pilot, but it featured the debut of Johnny, his dog Dookie, his sisters and their parents, as well as the villain Bling Bling Boy. The pilot was animated in Flash and had an American cast, unlike the Canadian cast of the main series. According to TV.com user Derek Lamb, the pilot was redone as the first episode of the series, and only James Arnold Taylor, who voiced Johnny in the pilot, returned for the main show. Despite a few screenshots and a promotional clip being available online, no other footage of the pilot has been found. Furbies were introduced in 1998 as an American robotic toy developed by Tiger Electronics. The toy has a distinctive owl appearance and can be interacted with in various ways, including feeding, petting, and tickling. Its unique design combines the features of an owl, cat, bat, and hamster. The original Furby was a highly sought-after toy during the Christmas season, with long lines forming to acquire it. However, production of the original toy ceased in 2002. Hasbro later released a second-generation Furby in 2005, featuring improved animatronics, limited voice recognition, and a new design dubbed Edomotronic. To promote the new Furby toy, a movie called Furby Island was released, which follows the story of a girl named Maddie and her family as they explore the world looking for rare plants and animals. They stumble upon Furby Island, where they must protect the Furbies from the evil Dr. Conquest. The movie was not that big of a success, but Federator Studios planned an upcoming TV series with the same name anyways. The Furby Island animated series was announced on Reddit by a former employee of Federator Studios. The studio planned to create a 13-episode season, which would continue the story started with the 2005 movie. However, the series was never released to the public. Apparently, the studio showed a backdoor pilot to Nickelodeon president Herb Scannell, who approved the show. But after a few months, the studio was asked to make changes by the new president named Sima Sarkami, which they refused to do, and as a result, the show was pushed back and eventually cancelled. Dreamchasers was a 5.5-minute computer-generated animated program that was featured in the post-show area for Test Track at Epcot. The show is presented to viewers by two guides named Gina and Mo. The guides led the viewers through 6 different environments, including a Wild West scene, a beach scene, and outer space. while showcasing General Motors' development of their cars from marketing to production. The show also offered a glimpse into GM's plans for the future. The custom-built chairs provided for the show had a fixed headset with stereo speakers and small screens that displayed 3D video. These chairs were synchronized with the show, swiveling up to 180 degrees to provide an immersive experience. However, the motion only worked when the viewer was fully seated. Additionally, there were buttons that allowed for closed captioning and audio in Portuguese and Spanish. Despite the immersive experience provided by the chairs, park-goers did not enjoy the show, seeing it as a glorified GM advertisement. In 2004, the show was replaced with an entirely different show with the same name. The news story revolved around a toy Hummer H2 that inspired to become a real car. 2 years later, the space was replaced by a completely different exhibition called Fuel for Thought. There are no known recordings of the original Dreamchasers show. This is likely due to the small fixed screens, which made it challenging, if not impossible, to create a quality recording of the show. In the summer of 2005, an online flash game website called Gushers Redo Your Room or Gushers Place was launched to promote the Fruit Gushers Redo Your Room sweepstakes. The game allowed users to enter a lobby room where they could register a username and password and were assigned a room number on a random floor. From there, they could customize the room with pre-made furniture or obtain new items by entering codes found in specially marked Fruit Gusher snacks. The game also featured an express elevator that allowed quick access to a registered room and other users' room if they had the right floor, room number, and username. After the sweepstakes ended, the landing page was updated with an animated fruit on the loose button that linked to another fruit snack by General Mills. Despite the lack of updates, the game remained online for several years until it was taken down permanently sometime after March of 2009. Today, only a few pieces of evidence remain that attest to the game's existence, including partial Wayback Machine archives, questions on Yahoo Answers, and a study on children's advertising by the Henry J. Kaiser Family Foundation. Although the Wayback Machine has archived the SWF file containing the opening and express elevator screens, entering the lobby now results in a black screen, as does using the elevator for any floor. The only remaining evidence of the game is several looping sound bites of music and laughter that play depending on the floor number. Most of the game's assets were meant to be streamed from General Mills servers when they were in operation, so it's likely that the rest of the game has been lost. In 2002, Turner Classic Movies decided to air a special version of the classic MGM film The Wizard of Oz. It was called The Wizard of Oz Sing-Along and was aired on the 4th of July. The segments of the special were hosted by the popular TCM personality Robert Osborne and the Powerpuff Girls. During the first segment, Blossom developed a crush on Robert Osborne, while Bubbles argued that she could read and Buttercup accused her of lying. Blossom then asked her sisters to stop embarrassing her in front of Mr. Osborne, which made Bubbles and Buttercup exclaim Robert. The second segment featured an interview with the three Powerpuff Girls promoting their new movie, which was released on July 3rd of the same year. They also recited Dorothy's iconic line, "There's no place like home," while wearing ruby red shoes similar to Dorothy's in the film. Currently, only a part of the intro segment and a promo have resurfaced to the public, and it's still unclear if anyone has recorded all of the segments. Although they have released various hosting segments and other content through their TCM backlot subscription service, so there's possibly still hope that this releases one day. Minesweeper Flags was a multiplayer game available exclusively on Microsoft's instant messaging application Windows Live Messenger. It was launched in the 2000s and was based on the popular Minesweeper game. The goal of the game was to locate flags which were hidden on the map more quickly than your opponent. The game could be launched by challenging any Windows Live Messenger contact from the message window. During its time, Windows Live Messenger was a highly popular instant messaging platform available on Windows, Mac, Linux, and some mobile platforms. At its peak height in the 2000s, it was the world's most popular instant messaging application. However, with the turn of the 2010s, its popularity was greatly affected by other services like Facebook Messenger. As a result, Microsoft switched off the platform in 2013, rendering Minesweeper Flags lost and inaccessible. The game remained available on the Windows Live Messenger platform until the service was discontinued, and as all Windows Live Messenger games were loaded via Microsoft servers, the game became permanently unavailable and lost at that time. Unless a user saved all of the required files, it is very difficult to bring the game back from its lost status. Even if the files were available, discontinuation of the Windows Live Messenger platform would make it challenging to even make the game work, and it would require significant developer effort. The only other possible way of bringing the game back would be for Microsoft to re-release it, but no plans to do so have been made public.